I don't think there's a lack of a challenge. I think it's just a different challenge. I know when we were I know myself personally, I definitely felt like a broken Barbie doll. I felt like this is a bait and switch, like, because you're already in it with someone. The next thing you know, it's like, how are you still going to be attracted to me now that I don't have breasts or I don't have nipples, and I don't know how I feel about myself. I don't know if I can worry about how you feel about me. And I remember listening to one of our young advocate sisters at the LBVC training, and she said the same thing. And one of the ladies said, well, you're probably the same on the inside, right? And I was like, I'm even different on the inside. Like, I feel like you've got a whole new woman to deal with. And, like, we're about 2 years post-diagnosis, and we're still trying to deal. We're still trying to figure out what happens next. We talked a lot about different support systems, what it's like to have someone that's there and that's there for you. I think one of the biggest things that I felt, not just having my best friend at the time, where it'd be like my being sick was inconvenient. There was just too much for her. I just had people that say, like, I had somebody else that was sick, so I really couldn't give you the time that you needed. And then to be married, and we were young. I was diagnosed at 26. It was really tough. It was really difficult. It still is. We're still trying to figure that out. And it's one of those things where you have somebody that's there physically and maybe not there emotionally. And this is something that, like, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I talk openly about therapy. I've been going to therapy since my diagnosis. I continue to go. My husband and I continue to go. And this is one of the things I was talking to her about last night. And I do, like, on one hand, I want to say, like, personal accountability. Like, man up is really strong. I hate that's a stereotype. I don't want to use that word. But, you step up, right? Somebody needs you to step up. And you're supposed to step up the way they need you to step up. And then on the other hand of that, I feel like, man, how do you, like, what can we do to help people, help partners better navigate the space? Because I know that it also has to be a really helpless place to kind of watch somebody suffer and not know what to do or how to help.
So it sounds like we need to come up with a workshop, the ABCs for spouses on how to cope with their wives and diagnosis and the aftermath. And maybe that's something that needs to be discussed and, brought to the table on another topic altogether, because I'm a big person on think tanks, and maybe that's something we need to look into. Where there's a will, there's a way, And we have another caller calling in, area code 586. Last 4 digits are 7687. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Kendra McCleary, Michigan.
Hi, Kendra. Are you familiar with For the Breast of Us, or are you just catching the podcast tonight?
I am familiar with it, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions or comments for the ladies tonight, or anything you would like to state or ask since you're on the show?
I would have to say just care. Care has to be advocated. Needs need to be advocated.
Okay. Are you a breast cancer survivor, or are you still enduring? If you don't mind me asking.
I am dealing with metastatic stage 4.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, sis. How's it going? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling wonderful. I am doing great.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling.
Kendra, are you Kelsey's partner, her new correspondent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I am. That's what I thought.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I'm still getting familiar with everyone. And if you'd like, just continue to hold on the line. I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for calling in. And we're going to get We'll get back right to you. I'm going to continue to give the floor to the ladies. Thank you guys for calling in. And I'll chime some of you ladies in as I see fit, okay? Okay, so we've got Marissa and Jasmine, the name of the company For the Breast of Us. Follow them on their website, breastofus.com, where you can find information on, like she was saying, Miranda Gonzalez, who has some inspiring stories. One of them happens to be motherhood and purpose after cancer diagnosis. We also have up-and-coming events, resources, like Miss Marissa was stating. They also have, if you have questions on clinical studies and trials, please contact the ladies, and we're going to continue on with our discussion. We were talking about dating, the aftermath of breast cancer. How is that? So if we had to roll this all in a nutshell, ladies, what would you say? How would you want to conclude this part of what we talked about, dating with breast cancer, married or being single?
Jasmine, you want to go first?
I
For
think,
the married ladies on the line.
I definitely think it's a process, man. Wildfire Magazine is a magazine that strictly for young women that are diagnosed with breast cancer, and they just had a love and intimacy issue, and I have to give them a shout out. Besides the fact that it's such a beautifully printed piece, it's very the stories in this thing are amazing. And I think, like, we have to, I shout out Miranda and her piece about broken vagina, because those are the kind of things that we are afraid to talk about, or we're afraid that no one else is going through. And I felt that the same way with CJ when she finally wrote that blog, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, somebody else has to talk about, like, how are we navigating? How are people navigating dating when they don't have breasts and they're trying to figure out how they feel about themselves? And we have other women that are talking about how they're trying to navigate their bodies and getting comfortable again with their husbands. So I think the biggest thing is just acknowledging that we're not alone on that journey, on the awkwardness, and that it just takes time, and it also takes a lot of effort.
Marissa, would you like to expound on that?
Yeah, so for the ladies who are dating, after or even during, while you're going through treatments, my biggest takeaway would be just give yourself time. Just because I know mentally there's a lot that you have to go through. Your body changes. Like for me, for example, I gained about 40 to 50 pounds once I was done with treatment. So like that just took a whole blow on my self-esteem. And while I have gotten half of that off of me, I know that it's been easier for me to accept who I am. Just because looking in the mirror, it's like I know I can still see glimpses of the old person that I was, but I'm accepting of the new person that I do see now. So I would just say, get out there and date when you are completely ready, and just be honest with the person. That doesn't necessarily mean be honest with them completely up front if you're not ready for that. But if you are talking to them and having open communication, just letting them know, like, hey, this is kind of something that I went through. I'm starting to like my body now, but I still have a lot of scars. And I'd say just be honest. And people that are going to respect that and want to know, they will still be there to listen. And then the other people, they may just fall off. But the ones that fall off, they weren't supposed to be there anyways. I was dating somebody before I was diagnosed. And 2 weeks before I was diagnosed, he broke up with me. And, that, of course, hurt. And then I was diagnosed and I went through it. And I did realize, I was like, well, he actually wasn't even supposed to be here while I was going through this, because he wouldn't have been able to handle it. And that would have been worse for me than it was just breaking up with him.
Amen.
So all of that, I just come to say, it's just like the people that are supposed to be there, they'll still be there. The other ones, they'll just move out of the way.
No, I agree with what you're saying. And, what you said was very profound, because whoever God has for you is for you. Whether you have breast cancer or don't, whether you have an illness or not, certain people will show who they are once we're put in a pit of fire. And it will if they can take the heat, or if not, they will jump out of the kitchen and they can't stand that heat. And I agree with you, ladies, because this was the toughest pill to swallow, was sitting in that office in front of a team of oncologists and plastic surgeons, and my husband not sitting there and staring down at my hand with this rock that I have on my finger, but no man next to me, because he's in Texas currently and has not checked on me once. No phone call, no text, and he knows I'm being treated on a military installation and has not empathized or even said fuck you, through a text message. So I totally feel your pain. But what it's done for me, it's given me the toughest skin like Teflon to just say, I got this. Like, God, it's been me and you since birth. It's going to be me and you to the end. And so if this is how it's got to be, I prefer for me to see that now than to just live a lie, I don't like living a lie. And I think that's the thing, that we are living in a world, ladies, where people like being lied to. And social media has humanized all of these negative things that occur in the world to the point where people don't like hearing the truth. Some people don't want to even step into their own selves to receive who they are. So the fact that you two are standing tonight and representing and creating this company is very profound, because somebody out here is struggling. Someone out here does not want to be spoken to, maybe not ready to even come forward. So I really thank you, ladies, for your contribution to this world, because it's definitely impactful. And as we can see, we have a lot of callers that called in that support you and love you guys. So you guys are definitely making a mark on this world. Really have.
Yes, and we appreciate every one of them. Thank you to everyone who actually takes the time to read all of the stories on the website, takes the time to look at our Facebook and Instagram pages and leave a comment, and just supporting all of these women, because whether or not they realize it, a lot of this is therapy for them that they're writing and that they're sharing, ultimately with the world. So just having the support from everybody out there is nothing short of amazing, and we love each and every one of you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow each woman, you get 30 seconds, ladies, and I'm going to mute your mic if you go over. So what I'm going to do is open up the mic, let each woman give their words of gratitude for the women of the Breast of Us. Please tell the listeners your name, where you're calling from, and why you're so thankful for the ladies for the Breast of Us. We'll start with area code 586-7687. Name, calling from, and why you're so happy to have the ladies of the Breast of Us in your life.
Well, I do have to say it's very powerful, and the one thing that I am about is positivity, and the one thing I want to advocate is we aren't responsible for other people's behavior. Living with stage 4, you kind of look at the world in a different angle. So, Metro Detroit here, Kendra McCleary, I love you all.
Love you.
Thank you.
Area code 803, last 4 digits, 4256. 30 seconds. Say your name, where you're calling from, and why are you feeling thankful for the ladies of the Breast of Us.
Hi, this is Tisha from Maryland. I am very grateful for these ladies because they are women like myself that are breast cancer survivors and are reaching out and spreading the word of awareness and encouragement for women of color that are going through and fighting this disease. So I'm grateful that we have this avenue to be able to go to when we need support.
Amen. Thank you, Tisha. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Tisha.
Area code 805, last 4 digits, 5011. Your name and where you're calling from and why you're thankful for the Breast of Us.
Kelsey from Detroit, Michigan, calling from the Can Survivor Network. And